Control yourselves, people. So we are going to talk about, this is the challenges of a YouTube startup. Just so I know who I'm talking to. Anybody out here have a YouTube channel?
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Nice. Anybody thinking about starting a YouTube channell?
Nice.
Cool.
Anybody out here just here for the hell of it? There you go. I was waiting on you. I was looking for a hand. I
We
see
just have
you
time
out
to
there.
kill.
Well, we'll start off, and basically, since we do have this kind of crowd here, I do want to have plenty of chances to talk about any questions you guys have and everything, so we can all kind of like be interactive. So we're gonna be super interactive with this because we have that chance, because that's a good thing about this size. I like it like that. Quick introduction. This is the team from Weird Girls. Weird Girls is a YouTube channel. It's been around for a couple of years now, and we are steadily growing up in size right now. My name is Mark. I am producer of Weird Girls. I'm also on a couple of shows around there. And let's just go down the row, and if you could just give us a quick introduction of who you are and how you got started within here, and remember to talk into the microphone.
I'm Chandler Baker, and I am kind of our resident book nerd, so I cover books for the Weird Girls. And I got started with the channel because I heard about them in the Austin Chronicle and just kind of creepily reached out and said I wanted to be involved, and thankfully they let me.
And we were like, she was creepy, let's include her.
Yeah.
She fits right in.
She's
That's
an
actually-
author.
Join us.
It's
Yes.
the checklist. On the checklist would be in here. It's like creepy. Check.
Can you mouth?
Noted.
Cool. Come on. Hop on.
I'm Amanda Loon. I play D&D like all the time, and I'm part of a group called Heroes of Awesome. Mark is wearing our T-shirt. I play an elf ranger on that, and I've been with the channel for 9 months to a year.
9 months.
9 months.
We started
9
in
months.
January. That's right.
Lots of fun.
I'm Kelly Nova. I do the cosplay segments on the channel, and I was recruited after doing an awkward interview segment with Mark and Danny Danger. Mark and Danny Danger, there we go.
No, I'm going to be Mark today.
And they were like, hey, who is that Miss Marvel? I was like, it was me. After I creepy, like, followed them and cyberstalked them, kind of like Chandler did.
Check.
Check.
Creepy.
And that's how it started.
Sup guys, I'm Zombie. I do all the video gaming segments and some cosplay stuff too. I met Mark and Kelly Nova at Rooster Teeth Expo a couple years ago, and I was dressed up as Sophia from Gears of War, and they kind of reached out to me and was like, hey, we should do more stuff, and I was like, yes. And then I was like, by the way, sorry, I have Police Academy for the next 8 months, but if you're still interested and once I'm done, maybe I could do some videos for you. And like, we stayed in contact the whole time, and luckily everything worked out, so very lucky.
It was mutual creeping.
Yay.
Always mutual creeping.
Oh, you don't
Oh,
need that.
she has
What
a-
am I
yeah.
doing?
I have my own night. Thanks for sharing, though.
I like to really point out the fact that Zombie actually is a crime fighter by night. I mean, that's like what
For
she
real.
really does.
Legit.
It's like legit.
Literally.
Huh.
So I'm Danny Danger, and I talk about comic books. I do like weekly pull list reviews. You know, we talked about like the social scene of comic books, and just do a lot of introductory into comic book culture, so that way people who have like never read a comic book or don't know a lot about the scene can just get their feet wet and get experienced. And Mark actually reached out to my boss at Austin Books and Comics and was like, I'd like to make a video about comic books featuring a lady at your store. And Brandon was like, oh boy, do I know the person for you. And I've been doing this with Mark, and we have slowly acquired several amazing women for 2.5 years. I'm talking about you guys.
Has it really been 2.5 years?
It's been 2.5 years.
Wow.
This June will be 3 years.
Wow. And Danny was recently nominated for a Geeky Award for Outstanding Online Personality. We were super excited about that. So
It was fun.
That was fun. Went to LA for that award ceremony. But anyways, this is the team behind Weird Girls. There's a lot of fixing wigs. That happens all the time in our videos. That happens all the time off screen too. We're just sitting around fixing wigs all day. It's a thing that we do. So we're here to talk about YouTube because YouTube is kind of a big thing. It's where we live. It's where we spend all of our time. I've been involved in this space for years. Way before I met Danny, I've been involved in the online space. So I was getting involved in this when Felicia was first starting out. So really, we can talk about everything from the business side of stuff, the production side of stuff, to the creative side of stuff. What I want to start off with is I want to start off talking, and we'll go reverse order this time, because one of the hardest things for a creator to do is to constantly think of things to shoot.
It sucks!
So Danny, I mean, you have 2 videos a week.
Yeah.
Now, one of them, pretty standard every week, but how do you constantly come up with the ideas for fresh content?
It's a little difficult because there are times when a lot of things happen in comic book news. Like this past week was really huge. New Captain America, new Thor, a lot of #1 issues coming out, new Gotham Academy, that kind of thing. So there are weeks when there's 4 million things to talk about and you have to choose one, or you have to narrow your episode down to we'll cover these things, but we have to have a general umbrella topic. Otherwise it's just gonna be like, I love things and I love this and I love that and I love this and this. And so it has to be organized and formatted and done well. And then there are other times where nothing is happening and nothing is coming out and you really have to reach and get creative and just, the easiest thing for me, the thing that has been most helpful is surrounding myself with people who have similar interests, because it's how conversations come up. It's how we end up having a conversation about, what really chaps my butt is that there's no Casey Jones merchandise. And boom, that's an episode. But those are conversations that you have talking to people in the space who are similarly interested and just keeping it on the top of your mind. It's always keeping an open mind to this subject could be talked about.
I can't tell you how many times we've come up with ideas. Like just last week, we were at Alamo City Comic Con last weekend, and just wandering on the floor, not even shooting, we were just chatting up, looking at art, and I think we came up with 2 or 3 ideas for videos, just like hanging out. So just hanging out and talking about
One
the
of them
space
we're doing
is great.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to. Yeah, Zombie, what about you?
Oh, geez. I think my biggest problem definitely is consistency, being able to come up with a new idea as often as I want to. And I mean, I love Let's Plays, and that's my thing, but just kind of like jumping into a Let's Play and being like, oh, let's try something new today, or it's like, well, I'm going to shoot this a little differently, and just seeing if things work out and seeing if things don't work out so much. Like, I feel like I have so much footage just sitting there. It's just like, none of that really worked. So just coming up with something that I like is kind of a challenge.
So I gotta say, you have taken that challenge on very well. She recently did a Let's Play video. I don't know if you guys know the game Papers, Please. It's basically set in a Soviet society where you're like at a border checkpoint. Girl zombie dressed up in full like Soviet coat, hat with a symbol on top, did the entire thing with a Russian accent, telling bad Russian jokes and everything all during her Let's Plays. One of the funniest things I've seen in a while. I just love that.
Yeah,
and that's, I love it. It's a unique way to take on a Let's Play video. I really like that.
In Soviet Russia.
Yeah, I want to do more of those. Dressing up and playing is a lot of fun.
That was great. Oh, Alien Isolation.
It's pre-ordered.
Oh
October
my God.
7th.
Are you going to be Rigby? Please, please.
I'll see what I can do.
It's going to happen. Kelly Nova, how about you?
Oh, it sucks trying to find something new every week, especially for cosplay, because a lot of what I do, I have to create what I'm going to show. And I don't know how to explain this. Sometimes I'll usually like work on my costume, and I'll have things I'm doing with my costume, and then it's like, well, I run into a wall. So I'm like, well, what can we pull out of our ass this week? And then I go to my closet and try to find something interesting. So I don't know. Those suck. I rely on other people to tell me what they want to see for the most part. And I have like a list at home where I've said, hey, what do you want to see? What costumes do you want to make? And then those are my like emergency go-tos. So I would suggest if you're running into a wall, if you're not sure what new content to do, ask your audience and be like, hey, what do you like? And it's like customer service. If any business wants to do well, you have to know what your audience is and what they like and what they prefer to see you do. So it makes sense to ask them, and you shouldn't be shy about asking them. And oftentimes they'll tell you what they like and what they want to see, but it's good to put it out there and get people thinking, and I don't know, rely on your audience, I guess.
Amanda, you've got an interesting perspective on this, actually.
Yes. I mean, I don't have to worry about new content
That's right.
at all.
Well, that's why that is.
Well, I mean, it's a responsibility kind of the dungeon master to come up with content for us. So
basically, just to give you an idea, if you guys, the Heroes of Awesome, it's basically a group of players that sit down and we play a Dungeons and Dragons game every week, and we just shoot it. It's just like a tabletop. If you guys watch Will Wheaton's Tabletop, think of Will Wheaton's Tabletop, except we're playing Dungeons and Dragons.
yes.
So it's not so much coming up with content as just sitting down and deciding what crazy things to do. She has shot me in the back so many times, it's not even funny.
It's because I love him,
Uh-huh.
and he really needed it at the time.
Yeah, whatever.
But I totally agree with Kelly Nova. We have people that comment on the show and they have questions about their D&D characters. So to follow up with them, give them feedback, engage with them, you know.
It's huge. And we're
It is
talking
really
about,
huge.
I'm going to wrestle her into doing some more things. We're talking about some more things with her as well. So Chandler,
It's gonna be cool.
you're the newest one to the channel.
I am. I'm the channel baby. I think the biggest problem so far is actually remembering the ideas you come up with. I swear, so often I'm, just doing something else. I'm like, that is a great idea. I'll do that. And then, 30 minutes later, I have no idea what I was
Do you
thinking.
write it down?
I'm working on it.
That was almost
Judge.
judgment.
Just
Write it
Some food for
down.
thought there, Chandler.
Whoa. Apparently, you guys are way more diligent than I am.
I get so excited, my hat falls off. We'll just leave it there. Continue. I'm sorry.
So I guess I need to take a page out of y'all's book and write it down more, which I'm working on.
Put it in your phone. That's what we
Yeah,
did.
but I think what Danny was saying, we're all talking about things that we're genuinely really interested in and spaces that we're very involved in. So, I hang out with a lot of writers and book lovers, and so just talking to them, I feel like I always have, kind of a feel of what's going on in the industry and with new releases, and I try to read a book a week, so that always at least gives me some fallback. And yeah, listening to our viewers, they love to kind of recommend what I should be reading. So
I have a
that's what I
question for
started doing.
Danny and Chandler. Because y'all both do book lists, you both do pull lists. Where do you get your ideas from?
So for the pull list, every week Diamond just puts out a list of like, this is what's coming out. And actually, Previews puts out a magazine 2 months ahead of time. And so we're about to start working on getting a head up on, this is what's coming out this month that we're super, super excited about. So that's always really straightforward. It's more about like, how do I make this pull list exciting and fun to watch? Because people are watching, when you start to watch a formulaic episode, it can get boring. So you have to make different jokes, or you have to goof off, or you have to like choose really great comments to respond to. There's always has to be some level of engagement. And
So I want to jump in on here because I think you picked out two things that I love. We've had everybody up here talking at some point about the viewers in the comments. Wow, that is so important. If somebody leaves a comment on your channel, you have got to like jump on that and be a part of those people. Because Danny has started adding these in her videos, and it's really been effective. Where at the end, she starts replying to comments on screen. She said, hey, so-and-so said this is what I think. That kind of thing has really started to spark some conversations.
People ask
and
awesome questions.
people have been asking, now
Really
that they know
cool
that you're
questions.
answering, they're just like going through and be like, oh, what do you think about this? What do you think
And
about
once
that?
I started answering the questions on air, that's when I started getting the really cool questions, like who would win in a battle, Michonne, or who was it? It was Michonne or Agent 355 from Why
Yeah,
the Last Man.
that
And
was
people
great.
weren't asking me those kinds of questions before I started answering on screen. Like, it means a lot to people to hear you say their name and be like, "What's up, Tom? You have a great question this week. Let me tell you about it."
So it sounds like you're really trying to guide your audience as well.
I think my audience is
by-
guiding me to answer
but now
awesome
they're-
questions.
Well, now they're asking these really
that
interesting
down.
questions.
Yes.
Where before,
They get more involved and engaged because they see me getting more involved and engaged.
I
And it's a
seriously,
cyclical thing.
what Danny just said over there, I think as far as like YouTube and getting your channel and growing your channel, my audience is guiding me. That is like huge.
Yeah.
Really deal with that. Going back to the second thing before we go back to Chandler about mixing it up, because I edit Danny's videos, and we've been doing this for almost 3 years now. I have cut a lot of pull list videos. Oh my God, I love to mix it up. And when Zombie came in,
Oh my God, it was so much fun.
Danny was sick, and Zombie came in. So Danny was on screen, he's like, I'm just really sick. So Zombie was back there on the side just doing weird stuff the entire time. That was so much fun.
And I love that
It was
because I didn't have
great.
to act or expel any extra energy. And oh my God, is that a huntress walking through the hallway? I'm sorry. There's a
Focus.
I'm sorry.
Do I have to close the door?
Sorry.
Do I have to close the door?
But
Jeez. Now, on the business side of the video thing with Zombie, that video probably has twice as many views as the other pull list videos.
I could come back.
And you get more comments too, which
You
helps.
can do that. Yeah.
And you get more comments, even if it's more comments like, haha, she's funny. Nothing that you can really respond to, it still helps your analytics. And people are still moved enough to actually type, haha, that's funny, instead of just laughing and moving on to the next video.
Well, I think that kind of goes with, if you talk to big name YouTubers, a lot of the things that they do are collaborations with other big name YouTubers. And the reason why that video has so many views is because Zombie took her audience into Danny, and now her audience is with Danny, and now Danny's audience is probably getting in with Zombie because they both have their own niche. So if you can collaborate with other people doing similar things that you're doing, or maybe not, like what Mammary Heart has all these people coming in to do You Deserve a Drink, like random people making cocktails with her. So you don't even have to have the same kind of content, but it kind of like mixes things up and you're sharing audiences as well.
So, Chandler, let's jump into what you were asked, because the question before was how did you get ideas for all of your lists and everything? Because you do hauls and things.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also guided by the audience. First, I want to think about what people might be in the mood to read. I mean, it's October, so scary books are fun, or summer reads that I think are appropriate. I've also started doing a viewer book club where people have been recommending books to me, and I choose a winner that I feel like reading from the comments once a month, and have been covering that, which I think helps me have another video idea, which is great. But it also kind of creates that quality connection, which I think is great, because the stronger you can build that connection, the better.
That's pretty cool. So it sounds like your audience is also driving what you're doing?
Yes.
I think our audience drives a lot of what we do, honestly. We really rely a lot on comments and recommendations of things, different books, whether it be a book for the book club, a comic books reading, a let's play video, a cosplay, you name it. We've even gotten recommendations on how to play our characters in Dungeons and Dragons. It's amazing.
Do tell.
I hate it, actually. No. Well, it's just like, why didn't you become friends with an owlbear? And it's like, in what universe are you friends with an owlbear? But
Could happen.
I mean, I love that people are watching and engaging in that way.
You're not
but
friends with an owlbear?
yeah, like you can milk it later or something.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, it's like everybody has their opinion about how you should play your character.
I think you made a comment in one of the interview sections afterwards where you said, and Brandon agreed with you, that Dungeons and Dragons is the ultimate armchair game where somebody can always go back and say, "Oh, you totally should have done that." It's like, okay,
it's like watching a horror movie. You're like screaming at the screen, like, "Don't go up there! They're gonna go up there. Just let it go."
We actually did that the other day to Tenchita. I felt kind of bad when Tenchita was doing this crazy stuff. We're like, "No!"
Yeah, just let it go.
Just let it go.
But that's kind of what's awesome about what y'all are doing, because the Dungeon Master can be like, "Yeah, you want to do that? You're screwed."
Yeah.
You're all gonna die.
He inevitably,
Yes.
that's the one thing Brandon always says, is he'll plan out as much as possible, but we always do something that he's not expecting. Always.
Does that make him mad?
No, he loves it. He actually loves it, because then he has to play things by ear. Like our last episode we shot, he was not expecting me to do what I did, and he was totally not expecting it, but then he ended up bringing another character in. Like there was a throwaway character he had that he thought was going to be killed. We were going to fight and kill. We ended up starting a conversation, and we all love the dude.
He's my boyfriend now.
Yeah,
he's totally my boyfriend now.
They're totally cute together.
But you dissed the owlbear?
Yeah, the owlbear.
We killed an owlbear.
Owlbear's dead.
It's dead.
Okay.
Totally dead.
I am judging you really hard right
Together.
Totally dead.
now. Together? Is it mounted on your boyfriend's wall now?
So.
Have its paw. It's on my head.
Oh yeah. Don't
Anyway,
you
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're talking about Dungeons and Dragons all day. Sorry, guys. Anyway, we've kind of got a general sense, but I kind of want to hear from you guys. You guys have channels and everything. You guys are starting. What kind of questions do you have for us, whether it's on content creation, whether it's production side, whether it's dealing with the back end of YouTube, which is a pain? How do you make money at this? We can talk about all this stuff. So what kind of questions do you guys have?
But if you have a question, I want to know what your channel is, because I'm curious. So start off with what your channel is.
Somebody's got a question. Come on, guys.
He doesn't sleep ever.
Do we want to go down the line?
It depends on the show. Honestly, it depends on the show. We can just go down the line. Like Chandler, we're shooting every 2 weeks. So she has one video out every 2 weeks. I generally take about a week to get it done. Amanda with the Heroes of Awesome. Okay, Heroes of Awesome. We have 3 cameras set up. We play for about 3 to 4 hours, and then we have 2 hours of interviews after that. So we're looking at about 20 hours of footage that we have to cut through. Now this is on top of everything else we're throwing on the channel. Our turnaround time on one episode has been about a month per episode at this. But we've kind of got a backlog, so we're streaming them every other week starting this next week. So it takes a long time because of the complexity of the shoot. Kelly Nova, talk to me about yours.
I shoot, cut, edit, and post my own videos. So generally, I will shoot, cut, post in one day. And so depending on what's going on, if it's a cosplay that I'm making, then I'll make it, I'll get the supplies and prep for it, and then just shoot it and cut it in one day. But if it's like a closet cosplay, like I throw it together and shoot it the same day usually. Loot Crate is really easy. I do the unboxings and I just sit there and get it done, and I can get that done in like 2 hours. So most of my stuff is done like the same day, and it's posted. My days are, for the video to go out, is Monday evening. So I usually do it Sunday, just between us. But that probably drives me really crazy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So if I can get it done, if I know I have something to do, I get it done earlier. But mine, it's really easy to get it done in one day.
Oh, geez. I never have a consistent schedule. I have shift change.
That's really true.
Yeah, sorry, man. I'll, whenever I have a free day to shoot, I'll usually try to do 2 videos, whether it's like a talky one about a costume or a let's play. I'll try to shoot like as much as I possibly can. Then I'll be like, yes, it's shot. Now I can edit it. And then the next day I'll edit it, and then I'll send it to Mark. Just for me, my biggest problem is I need a backlog because my schedule is so inconsistent, just so he'll have a regular schedule where he can actually post something.
I think we're going to go back to doing some talking over games, because I think we can get a lot of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Danny.
So I do every once a week, we go up to the comic book shop and we film for about two hours max. I mean, we've gotten it down, because we've been doing this for so long, we've got it down to where we can film a pull list and, you know,
10
anywhere
minutes.
between 10 minutes and be totally good. Like, we spend more time like buying our comics and schmoozing around the shop than we do filming some days. But so it's usually I mean 2 hours maybe.
And that's just
if
shooting.
That.
I mean,
and that's just shooting.
Keep in mind for Danny's videos as well, we throw a lot of graphics up there, like the comic book covers and things like that, and we always throw music. So actually cutting it takes a lot longer than shooting it. Cutting her 10-minute video and putting everything in there takes minimum an hour to an hour and a half to get everything set up at that point.
Yeah.
Going to your original thing where you were talking about collaborations and everything, that's a whole other world, because doing the collaborations takes a lot of advance prep. When Danny and I went out to LA for the Geeky Awards, we did a couple of collaborations with Jenny Lorenzo, who's a vlogger from Florida, and Amy Dolan, who does comics with
And you should
Geek and
watch them
Sundry.
both because they're wonderful.
They are wonderful. But we had to start getting that done like weeks and weeks in advance, and just trying to coordinate what your schedules were and everything like that. It does take a lot of time, and it's a lot of work. Collaborations are a great way to expand your audience. It is a lot more labor intensive to make it happen. And
even collaborations between us,
Yeah.
it takes weeks to schedule and kind of get an idea of what we want to shoot, and then get everything in place to do it. Like the lip sync battle that we did, how long did that take to plan?
I have no idea. That was
like months.
Yeah.
Months.
No,
Well-
it was a month, because we had a month to rehearse it.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, well, except for Chandler, who had a week and nailed it.
She had
Nailed
a day.
it.
One day.
One day. That's so
Yes.
crazy.
We did a lip sync challenge because we had a panel at Rooster Teeth Expo, and Amanda, who is one of our contributors from Kentucky, flew down
Amanda
for that.
Dawn.
Amanda Dawn. Jedi Amanda Dawn, all the above. She came down, so we wanted to do something for that. And I just watched Jimmy Fallon doing the lip sync battles with Emma Watson. Not Emma Watson, Emma Stone. And I was like, we're doing this. So we prepped it a month, and it was great. We just had everybody doing lip syncs and everything. It was great fun. But it took a lot of work.
Including Mark,
Yeah, I lip synced. It's a thing I did.
which was great.
Yeah.
So I guess to really answer your question, I guess it depends what you're doing. Collabs will take a longer amount of time to schedule, unless you have like a really cool friend that's just like, yeah, let's do this in a day, whatever. But I guess it depends on your style and what you're doing.
Well, I also didn't take into account the time that it takes me each week to like read up on my pull list and like
Yeah,
all
how
of
long does
that
that
research work. Like, I mean, you know, usually I get home Monday night and Monday or Tuesday I'll do the pull list for the next week, and then all week I'm reading comics, because I mean, when I come home with a stack of comics every week, it's like this big, it's huge. I stay caught up on everything. It's just ridiculous. And staying caught up on all your reading, and then reading something else on the side so that you can review a book. Like, I also read 4 volumes of Strangers in Paradise today, and my entire pull list. Let's film Red Bull, Red Bull, Red Bull.
Hey, you and Chandler in a very similar situation, because Chandler, you got stacks of books that you go through.
We need to have
I
a
mean,
reading party. Seriously.
Where
So
you
how-
just sit in a
Snack
room
How do
and
you
read
make
and not
it-
talk to each other?
Snack food and calming music. I'm just saying.
Just saying, how do you
Reading
make it
party.
through all those books? How do you, because I'm sitting here thinking like, it takes me so long to read Maze Runner. Actually, it
Maze
didn't take that
Runner's
long.
like-
That's like, didn't take that long. No, actually, that was pretty quick.
Concerning.
I know, right?
I don't know. I give up TV a lot, but not completely, because I can't go without TV. I have an Audible subscription, and I listen to it on like twice the speed, which really freaks people out when they listen to it, because it doesn't even like sound like words to people. So I listen
That's
to
awesome.
it.
You speak
That
Charlie
is
Brown's parents.
witchcraft, what you're doing.
Witchcraft.
I
Oh my
played it
God.
for people, and it's like they're like, that just is so stressful.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. Write it
guess
down.
I
Write it
should.
down. Write it down. Write it
Write
down.
that down,
In your
Chandler.
phone.
In your phone right now.
Text it to yourself.
Okay.
Okay, she's.
0 0
Yes.
0 1
There you
0
go.
0 0 0 1 1.
See,
I know
there's a
our
great
YouTube
tip right
channel,
there,
the
people.
technology.
Everyone.
You must be familiar with this process.
Maybe, maybe.
Yeah.
Never know.
Well, if
Okay,
you wanna-
on it.
If you want to talk about like time constraints and how long it takes, I consider what I do a second job.
Yeah.
Like that combined with Austin Books and Com, it is a second job. I have 2 jobs. I function as if I have 2 jobs. And that's really hard to explain to my family. They're like, are you supposed to get paid? I'm like, no, that's not. I mean, yes, eventually.
Someday, maybe.
But it's still a job. It's work.
When you
I'm
have to
tired.
like be like, sorry guys, I can't go to dinner with y'all this weekend because I'm filming. They're like, what?
Yeah.
But you don't get paid for it. Can't you reschedule?
No,
No.
I can't. I can't.
Well, I
Not
mean,
if I ever want to get paid for it, ever.
the reality of this is, so talking about the YouTube ecosystem, there are a ton of people making videos right now, like vast numbers. How many days of videos are uploaded every minute on YouTube?
Just
It's, like,
cute cat
ridiculous.
videos. I mean,
It's ridiculous. If you want to stand out from that, you got to make a commitment to it.
Or have a cuter cat.
Or yes, or have a really, really adorable cat. So, I mean, what Danny says, I mean, she treats it like a job. I treat it like a job too. Yeah, it's like a job. It is
Mark
a
treats it
full-time
like
job.
2 jobs.
Yeah.
Maybe 3, depending on my mood.
Do you sleep?
No.
I get about 4 hours a night, something like that.
That's
Just inject caffeine directly into his eyeballs.
Yeah, there's my profile picture at one point used to be in the trash can by my desk, and it was literally overflowing with 2 things: cupcake wrappers and coffee cups. It was just how I lived for like 3 weeks.
Have you
Nothing
been
but
tested for diabetes?
I'm fine, thanks. Anyways, so yeah, if you want, who out here is doing a YouTube channel because you want to make something out of it, you want to make money on it, you want to do something with that, right there. What's your channel? Jantu Yogi? Tell me about that. Excellent. That sounds fun. Oh my
I would
God.
love to juggle all of you.
Oh my God. That's frightening. That's terrifying to me.
And kind of amazing.
Kind of amazing too. We'll talk after this because that might be a video.
We may or may not be getting juggled.
No, I guarantee you right now, Mark is thinking, can he juggle me?
Can that happen? Wow, that blows me away. Going to your collaboration thing, it's amazing how quick these things can happen, isn't it? Boom, boom. Yeah, so changing it.
So
takes
what
no
is
time at
what
all.
is your channel?
Philly D?
Yep. He's like the pioneer of the YouTubes.
Yeah. and he's cut back.
He's retiring soon, isn't he?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean,
Danny, go down. Who's your favorite vlogger? Who do you watch on YouTube?
I really have been just dying over Jenny since we met her in LA.
Jenny Lorenzo.
Yeah, she's so funny.
What does she do?
Well, because the first episode I saw that she did was her rant about the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and it was just so funny. And she's like a huge TMNT fan, and so am I from like way back, growing up. And so just hearing her like talk about it was just so funny. And then she does this segment called Jenny Derpenzo, because she lives in Miami, and one of the things that she really does not like about her city is that if you are a girl and you're attractive and you leave your house, you must want to get screamed at.
Yeah.
And so Derpenzo does a lot of these videos where she just like warps her face and then just basically talks like this and makes fun of guys who just shout things at her. And oh my God.
Is
it's
she
so
Kelly,
funny.
I want to borrow those shoes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that one?
like that.
Yes.
Zombie, who do you watch?
It's so funny.
I am a huge Rooster Teeth fan. Like, that's kind of what inspired me to start doing Let's Plays, because they started doing them a few years back, and I was just like, I want to do this so bad. And probably my favorite show they've got going on right now is Adam and Joel's How To. I love those. So
That's cool. Kelly?
I really like Grace Helbig. I aspire to be her when I grow up. And I really love Sparkles. What is her full name? I don't remember. I just
Sprinkle of Glitter.
Sprinkle of Glitter. That's it. I just
She's
call
amazing.
her Sparkles. She's this really quirky British girl that does. She started doing makeup tutorials, but she talks about life, and she's like really hilarious. Oh my God. Okay, you need to go and Google her collab with Tyler Oakley about when she had an accident in her pants.
One time.
It
One
was
time. It's
hilarious,
hysterical.
and every time
It's
I
the
think of
best.
her, I think of it, and I'm like, oh my God, you're a real person, and that sounds like it would happen to
Yes.
me. So
Chandler, what about you?
I was really obsessed with Hey USA this summer, which was Grace and Mamrie's channel
Oh my
on
God,
Astronauts
yeah.
Wanted TV, and they had an awesome few videos in Austin, which was fun. And then I like all the booktubers like Pulling Bananas, which is Christine May and Jessie the Reader and Ariel Bissett, and I like Hannah Hart. too.
Ariel's awesome.
Oh, yeah. There's so many great ones out there right now, which is the other thing about this space. How do you compete against all of these people who are out there that are so huge
millions
with
and millions of subscribers.
PewDiePie has how many million subscribers right now? No one will ever have as many. Yes.
wow.
How many? 31?
Million.
He's at
That's
31 million right now.
bananas.
I think they were like 44,000 views an hour last week for him.
I
It's
aspire to a
ridiculous.
few hundred. I can't imagine a few million.
Yeah, so I mean, how do you try to stand out against all of these people who have, because a big change in the YouTube space has really happened within the past year, is the amount of investment in the space. Maker Studios was sold for $500 million. That
What
is
did Disney
a
buy?
nine-digit. Disney bought Maker.
No, it was for billion.
Well, it was $500 million with an option for $499 on performance. So, $1 billion, but $500 million.
Technically, it was a billion.
Technically, yeah. Technically, yeah. But yeah, there's a ton of money and a ton of investment in the space. There's a lot of traditional, quote unquote, media getting into the space. How do you try to stand out against that?
You do what you love. Because if you love something and if you're making what you love, then there's someone else out there that loves what you're doing. You can't be the only one on the entire planet that loves whatever the hell it is you're making. So just do what you love. Because in the end, you're doing this for yourself. And if you're not having fun, then what's the point?
There's this idea that we all have that if you're doing something and there's somebody out there who's doing something similar to you, then you must be in competition. You're not in competition. Especially with the time duration that most YouTube videos are, it is actually better for you to have more people out there making similar videos to what you make, because guess what? Somebody's gonna watch their 5-minute video, get to the end of it, and they're gonna run out of things to watch that person is doing, and they're going to click on those related tabs to the side. So networking with them and collaborating with them, but also challenging yourself in your content that you create to always be original and always be different, whether it's just your personality, whether there is just like no other Kelly Nova out there,
Oh, there's no way.
which there's not, or saying, okay, well, there's other people out there who do comic book reviews, so I'm gonna do comic book reviews, but I'm gonna dress up. or I'm going to do this other thing that just makes it just a little bit different, just a little bit more unique, or different from what I've already done. Not just different from what other people have done, but something that's fresh and new, and always challenging yourself to just keep it fresh.
Keep it fresh.
Keep it fresh.
Keep it
so fresh. And
So fresh, so clean.
yeah.
Well, I mean, when he said competing, I was just like, oh, I'm competing? It's like, I never really even considered that before. I just,
Bad word.
I don't know. I just
That
love.
was a bad choice of words on my part, really.
I don't know. I mean, but it's true. I mean, it seems like there are definitely a lot of people out there who compete because they feel like they have to stand out above everyone else who's doing something very similar. But what these guys are saying, I mean, just doing what you love, that will all, I mean, everything else I feel like will fall into place. So.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, compete's not a great word, but maybe like aspire to be as...
Aspire, better word.
I mean, there is a reason that some of those YouTube channels are really popular. I mean, they do great content, and so I think it's continuing to be adaptable and, you know, get tighter scripts, better content, different ways of shooting, and, you know, thinking about how we can just continue to get more quality connections with our viewers.
I love it. And you just, for some reason, you reminded me of, because I did a show a few years ago called Cell. And it took place in one location that was approximately 20 foot by 20 foot square, and it was over 2.5 hours of content. And at some point, I realized as we were scripting this out, it's like, how am I going to keep shooting this so that it doesn't get boring by the end of the 2.5 hours? And just the number of different ways we figured out to shoot, different angles, different shots, different movements of the camera and everything like that, it was constantly fresh. So if you look at the episode, it's always a different view that you've never seen before. And I think it kind of plays into this, you know, with everything you're doing, just keep making it fresh and it'll stay interesting to the people who are watching it.
If you're not being challenged, and if things are starting to feel easy, I'm learning that if you're not being challenged and things are starting to feel easy, then it's about time to shake it up and do something different.
Absolutely.
You should always be just a little bit, or always have that feeling of like, oh my god, I have to do something different. You know, the fear never goes away.
But you should also be checking out what other YouTubers are doing and what the popular YouTubers are doing, because what they're doing is working. And whether it's the camera angles or the background, the colorization, those are technical aspects that make your video aesthetically pleasing.
And there's a lot you can do. If you talk to Hank or John Green, you guys know the Green brothers by any chance? If you talk to them, they'll be the first ones to tell you it doesn't matter what you're shooting with or what you're shooting on. What matters is the content that you're creating. And that's the main thing. So going back to what everybody said, as long as you love what you're doing, it's going to start to show through. And eventually you can get there. And eventually you're going to make the better content. You're going to make the stuff that looks better. You're going to get a better camera. It's going to be a cleaner picture. You're going to get a light. So now all of a sudden you're not shooting in the dark anymore. And all these things will start coming together. But if you don't have that core of what you love doing, it's not going to work. It's kind of like my theory of capital. Have I told you guys my theory of capital?
No.
No. I'll tell you my theory of capital. You, in order to make something successful, you need a certain amount of capital. And most people think of money as capital. The thing about this space is that it's really a combination of social capital and monetary capital.
Insanity?
Yeah, that too.
Yes.
Lack of sanity. Now, you can make up for a lack of monetary capital with your social capital, but you can't just throw money at something and be successful.
Yeah.
There have been so many networks who have tried to get on to YouTube and just throw a ton of money, big star. Anybody watch that Kiefer Sutherland web series that was out 2 years ago?
No, exactly.
Beefer Sutherland?
Exactly. So that social capital is really important, and that comes with you being authentic in what you're doing on camera. Love what you're doing and really work hard at it. It depends on the video. I think if you're doing a title sequence that's 30 seconds long, that might be a little long, especially if you're just starting out, because you've got to engage a new audience. If you've got a loyal audience, they'll watch that 30 seconds. But if you've got a new viewer that doesn't know what you're doing, that feels a little long to me.
You had a title sequence for Danny Danger.
Yeah, I did.
When she first started, what happened with that?
So when you go into the YouTube analytics, if you go on the back end on that, you can look at the audience engagement, and it will show you how many people are watching per second you're on that video. And what I was starting to see as we looked at that is we would get people to start watching, and we would lose 20 to 30% of our audience in the first 15 seconds of our title sequence. I cut it out and I actually integrated part of it into her talking. So she does an intro, we do the intro. We did not see that drop anymore. In actuality, we increased it probably 30%. And now if you look at Danny's videos, we've made adjustments over the past couple of years where she's probably got about 80% completion rate on her videos. And for YouTube, I am super happy with an 80% completion rate on a video. But we tossed out that title sequence because we just didn't need it. We were losing viewers on it. And it depends a little bit on what you're doing, because Heroes of Awesome is a little different because it's a running series. It's a story that keeps going on. So we do have a previously on thing. But when I'm looking at the analytics, we're not losing people in the previously on because it's telling them what's going on. It's telling the story. It's not just a title that says, hey, Heroes of Awesome. It's like, hey, this is what happened last week. This happened to this person and this person. But just the title sequence, in my experience, has really caused some really negative engagement on our views. 30 seconds feels really long, especially for a 2-minute video. I will also say that Heroes of Awesome, we're clocking in at 47 minutes per video right now. Yeah, it's really long. Crazy, crazy long. But we're at 47 minutes.
But it's worth it.
Totally worth it.
Well, okay, so making what you enjoy. I will not watch a video if it is longer. 5 minutes is long for me, for YouTube. So if it's longer than that, I'm just like, I'm not gonna watch that.
Except Heroes of Awesome. You'll watch Heroes of Awesome.
I think it depends on what kind of a show it is.
You
because
think so?
I would what is the Jessica Mills Awkward Embraces. I would watch Awkward Embraces for hours on end. Like, I would marathon it. If it were an actual, like, if they put something like that on Netflix and the episodes were like normal, I mean, that's how I would watch it on YouTube. Is it a story? Yeah, it's a continuing story.
Okay, well,
and
that makes sense.
There's just not enough of it. But it really depends on the content. You have to, whatever your content is, you have to cater your time space to what that is. But even then, consider that YouTube is always going to have a shorter attention span than TV. And I think people want to create TV.
I disagree with that.
Well, because my videos, we were having a hard time keeping engagement because, again, go to your analytics, you'll see your engagement. It's an awful graph that does this.
Always watching,
horrible.
always judging.
And you can see where people just stop paying attention and they just click off. And that means you did something that they didn't like, and you should not do that again if you don't want to see this happen. So mine were having that drop in my tutorials. And it got to the point because they were kind of too long, so we had to cut them considerably. So I guess it does depend what you're doing. If you have a story, it makes sense to have a longer video. You just have to know your audience, I guess.
It really does. But I do want to, because Danny said, you know, YouTube's always going to have a shorter attention span. I really disagree with that. If you were talking to me, and I actually was in a panel 6 years ago, there was a panel at the Austin Film Festival about online video, and there was a guy up there that said he wouldn't watch a video over 5 seconds long.
What?
He wouldn't watch a video, and I was like, "What?" He was into something that was like 1 minute long videos. That's what he was producing at the time, and because at the time, everybody in the space, and I mean everybody in the space, was saying nobody on YouTube will watch a video over 2 minutes long. Everybody. 6 years ago, this is what everybody was saying when the space was like. Now, you have shows that are hours long that people are watching. You've got Halo, Forward Unto Dawn, which is an amazing thing, a Brian Singer thing that is coming out. We've got Heroes of Awesome that's got a 60% completion on a 46-minute video. We've got people, the average watch time on that is 35 minutes. I disagree with the fact that's happening because the climate has changed. With Netflix and the mass consumption of everything, the relationship people are having with online content has changed drastically. Oh my God, is it that time already?
Yeah, they said someone was
We're getting kicked out, guys. Anyways, we'd love to talk to you guys some more if you guys want to.
Thank
come
you
up
for
afterwards.
joining
Thanks
us.
for watching. Thanks Comics Online. Thanks Wizard World Austin. We're the Weird Girls, and we'll see you later.
Whoa!
We have things to throw at people.
Oh yeah, they run kind of small. It's a women's medium.
It's
Anybody
a
wanna-
women's small.
There's one.
Yeah. She's like, I'm little, give it to me!
And I got a Weird Girl shirt. Anybody? Boom.
Yes.
There you go.
Awesome.
All right, guys, we'll get out of here.
The fighting emus, it's so adorable, right? Thank you so much for joining us.